the next couple of days, all of us in the world are going to eat a lot of shitty food. My dad's going to eat shitty food. You guys are probably going to eat shitty food no matter where you go. But you're not bad people. My dad's not a bad person. The problem is with the system, most of that food is shitty because it's bad for the environment, not so good for our bodies, but it tastes really good and it's cheap. So therefore, I do it, you do it, my dad does it. So what we do at Hampton Creek is to try to create a different world where good food that's a little bit better for our body, a little bit better for the planet, is so obnoxiously better than not so good food that even if you don't care, you choose it.
And how do you, the nitty gritty, how do you actually enable that?
So there are a lot of different approaches, I think, to making food better, but our approach, the one that we have been powering away on for the last 3 years, is that there are 400,000 plants around the world, 400,000 different species of plants. Most of them haven't been explored. We got really addicted to soy, we got really addicted to corn. So what we do is screen through them, try to find the best of them, and ultimately use them to make food better. And the cool thing about plants is, because we got too addicted to lots of soy and lots of corn, we forgot that something as simple as a Canadian yellow pea, for example, one of the 400,000 plant species, is made up of all these subtypes. And all these different subtypes of the Canadian yellow pea have all these different molecular properties. So we have a team of data scientists and biochemists and food scientists that are able to link some of these molecular properties to food functionalities, and that's the different kind of tech approach that we have to make it easier.
Got it. So your startup is about 3 or 4 years old, correct?
3.
3 years old.
Yep.
So you're using proprietary technologies and so forth. That being said, there are companies out there that are much more entrenched. They've been around for decades. They're making products. You have 2 products, correct, right now? There's Just Mayo, and there is Just Cookies.
That's it.
Yeah, which is basically cookie dough. Yeah. So, that being said, how do you guys compete on the price point? Are you using like newer scientific research, R&D technologies, and they're competing against Hellman's and Safeway or something? How are you competing on that?
So here's the best example of what we do. The largest food service company in the world is called Compass Group. They're publicly traded. Most people here never heard of the Compass Group. And they serve university cafes, they work at Google's cafe, they're in Microsoft, they're in Boeing, they're in HB, they're in hospitals all across the country you never even heard about. We struck a deal with them where all of their, let's just call them shitty cookies, are out, and all of the better kind of Hampton Creek cookie is in. Better price point, a little bit less expensive. The central reason why it's less expensive, to your point, is we have a different approach of making it. So we kind of take some things out that are a little bit too expensive. In this case, butter and chicken eggs. And we replace it with a plant.
How much less expensive are we talking? Can you give me a side-by-side comparison of 2 products?
So take this cookie. So normally they would be buying this cookie for roughly, let's just say like $55 a case. Let's say. So roughly we're about $10 less a case than they would be buying these cookies for. And why it's exciting for us is the death of us, JP, is being branded as kind of the alternative substitute company for people that give a damn, right? We're not anxious with tapping into conscious consumerism. In fact, we think the way the good thing wins is by almost ignoring the conscious consumers and just by making something as simple as a cookie so much better. Again, then even if you don't care, you still end up choosing.
So, to say that your products are A, cheaper, the beets actually taste better, pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
So, how do you actually establish, your products actually taste better? I'm talking like blind taste tests.
So, I think the best example is why would this largest food service company in the world? They've literally taken Unilever, the company that I know we'll get into maybe a little bit, that had some issues with some of the things we've been doing. They've taken their regular mayo. And they've said, let's move it out of the way. And they've said the Hampton Creek mayo is in, it's called Just Mayo. The same thing for the cookies. They're doing it for a few reasons, and I think that's the biggest taste validation, the fact that they would do it. 1 billion gallons of water, JP, are saved because of that simple switch that they're making, because our products use less water. They're saving a little bit of money, and they believe, again, Compass Group, this largest food service company, that it tastes better. But we got some really awesome chefs, people like Andrew Zimmer, people like Richard Blaze, that have also said we like it.
Well, let me ask you, you said 1 billion gallons of water saved.
1 billion gallons of water saved.
That's a lot, especially in a state like California, which is in severe drought. How is that actually possible? How do you guys do that?
So we ask ourselves that question as a company, what would it look like if we started it? And again, take a cookie, just a simple example of a cookie. You all eat lots of cookies. We don't want to eat the cookies thinking that we're doing something bad, right? It's just a damn cookie. But it turns out that a lot of ingredients in a cookie are sucking up way too much water. In this case, too much butter, a lot of chicken eggs. And to make those chicken eggs that go in the cookie, for example, you need lots of corn and soy to feed all those chickens. And all that requires a lot of land, and all that requires a lot of water. It's just an example. We do things outside the chicken egg. But instead of using those water-sucking kind of ingredients, instead we use plants that don't suck up a lot of water. In this case, a grain called sorghum and something called a Canadian yellow pea.
Sorghum?
Sorghum.
Okay, sorghum. Got it. So you guys have raised, correct me if I'm wrong, $120 million total, right? And you have backers like Li Ka-shing, one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest man in Asia. Peter Thiel's founders fund, a slew of other people. And Bill Gates has basically said, he actually has said that Hampton Creek is one of the 3 companies leading reinvention of food. Coming from Bill Gates, obviously those are lofty words indeed. So why do you, let's talk a little more about that. Let's unpack that. I mean, the food space is so huge. I think food tech, there's Hampton Creek, there's also like Grubhub, there's also like Foodly, and there's a bunch of things. So, what sort of really makes you stand out? Is it the fact you're saving $1 billion gallons of water a year?
I think there are a couple of reasons that we've been lucky to grow so fast, and these folks have supported us. One is, and you made the point, JB, food is a system. Typically, people don't think about food as a system. Like healthcare is a system, education is a system, but food is a system that is archaic, that is really just shitty in every respect. Like if we were going to start a new food system today, if we were going to do it together with the audience here, there's no way in the world we would start a food system that looks like it does today. So I think part of our advantage is this idea, we call it first principles thinking, Elon Musk obviously does it too, of what the hell would we do if we actually started a movement? And that simple question that we ask propels a different approach when it comes to technology. It's a question that's, I think, a little bit audacious to ask, and then a technology that attempts to answer it. And we've also, done more than just say it. We've actually been out in the marketplace. So you can find our stuff in Walmart. One that I'm probably the most proud of, or the Dollar Tree, right?
Dollar Tree.
So we don't. Sometimes when people hear about Hampton Creek, they say to me, congratulations, Josh. I bet my friends who shop at Whole Foods and who shop at Rainbow Grocery will love you. And we love that they choose our products too. But the power of what we do is to say, there are people that are living out of a white envelope. There are people out there that only eat shitty food because they don't even have the means to do something different. But we want to be there for them too.
So how do you sort of bridge the gap then between, you have a lot of shelves now, obviously. Shelf space is very, very valuable for retailers. Was it very hard to sell getting on Safeway, Whole Foods, a bunch of other places?
So it's a funny story about how we got to Whole Foods. There was an article written about us that, for whatever reason, ended up on the front page of the Drudge Report. And for, as Morgan knows, our comms director, for about 24 hours, we had journalists all across the country call and say, what the hell's going on with this company? And then one of the leaders at Whole Foods called me up and said, I don't know who you guys are, but people keep calling into my customer service line asking where your products are. And then in a very short period of time, we launched a product with Whole Foods. We got it out there quickly. We did well at Whole Foods. And then it's just been a whirlwind ever since. And we keep on pumping out products. We keep on telling compelling stories around it. People keep on buying it.
Speaking of that, what are sales looking like?
Growing pretty fast. We're going to have far and away our best month ever. This month or last month we did double our sales last month compared to any previous month.
And what do those look like?
Don't want to get into the revenue yet, but it's strong. It's when you think of some of the fastest growing companies out there, I like to think that we're in that category.
Got it. So let's talk about, when I think about a lot of fast growing startups, they sort of have what I like to call their Airbnb moments. Airbnb ran into a situation several years ago where one home was vandalized, and that forced them to create an insurance policy. You had, this is very different, but you had a sort of a controversial moment of your own last year. Unilever, one of the largest consumer goods companies in the world, basically launched a lawsuit against you guys, basically saying, hey dude, just mayo, you can't really use the word mayo because it doesn't have eggs in it. So talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so for folks that haven't heard about that lawsuit, so we have this product called Just Mayo, so let's just pretend for representative purposes this is just mayo. Technically, according to the federal definition of mayonnaise, which you guys are probably more familiar with, you actually need chicken eggs in the mayo. You also need a particular percentage of oil. Well, our mayo, for reasons that relate to sustainability and taste and some other things, actually do not have chicken eggs. Okay? So it's mayo, not mayonnaise, but again, the federal standard says mayonnaise. So Unilever, maker of Hellmann's, which you might be familiar with, their best foods, said, you can't call it mayo, you're tricking people. So we stood up and we said, well, number one, it's mayo instead of mayonnaise, but I think more importantly, the whole point of our company isn't to be a mayo company. I don't give a damn about being a mayo company. We're trying to be a company that thinks about food in a compelling and a different way for everyone. That we don't want to be forced to call ourselves what they want to call ourselves. Just mayo vegan alternative. Just alternative mayonnaise for people that care. Just alternative substitute. That kind of thinking for us pushes us, instead of what you said, JP, out of the main shelf space into that area that maybe your sister who cares about the world shops at. And although we love the sister, we don't want to just market to her. And so what we did is we stood up, we said we're not going to change our label, and over 100,000 plus people signed a petition on change that. Over tens of thousands of people called Unilever's headquarters saying back off, and eventually their CEO, Paul Pullman, who's actually a good dude, got involved and said, this isn't us, so we're going to withdraw the lawsuit after $23 million in prepaid media.
So that was the cause. They literally just. I don't think it was disclosed actually in the news stories that resulted. Literally, they just had like a change of conscience, basically.
So I'll tell you exactly how it happened. So we were negotiating, and we kept being open with them, saying, listen, we're not going to change our label. This is who we are. The day we announced our fundraise, Morgan, who's sitting over there, knows it.
It was like 90 million at a valuation of 500 million.
The day we announced it, so we were sitting there, and the head of North American Foods calls me up, and he says, we've decided to withdraw the lawsuit. We're not asking anything from you. We've just decided to withdraw the lawsuit. And for us, it was a moment where we had a backbone. We stood up for what we believed in, and again, I think it speaks to this idea that you can look at big food or big companies as those are kind of the bad people. But listen, we want, if Unilever through that experience ends up being a little bit more innovative and creating better food, like amen to that. I mean, we got a world. We're gonna have over 9 billion people on the planet by 2050. It can't just be Hampton Creek that's making better food. We have to get lots of different companies in. And I would say for the entrepreneurs in the audience here, if you're thinking about starting your next thing and you're wondering about systems to go after that are particularly archaic, that really need a new approach, food should be at the top of your list.
So quick question, to circle back to, because I'm a business reporter. So if your products are cheaper, taste better, use newer technology, do you make money still? Is there a significant profit margin on your products?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's just a matter of, obviously